Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every single Wednesday morning I post a video going through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will actually help me make the thumbnail. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this, and I didn't, please drop that same question again, and it'll get moved to the top. And make sure you put repeat question too. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. We do have to get thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Arizona TCG. If you guys have a couple graded cards or a ton of graded cards you're looking to sell, but you're not sure what to do and you want to get that top dollar, could be PSA, could be Beckett, could be CGC, could be Pokemon, could be Yu-Gi-Oh, could be One Piece. It does not matter. Arizona TCG is perfect for you. You just send them your graded cards, and that's it. They're going to take professional scans of your cards, then they're going to post it on their massive weekly eBay auctions. And then two, you do have full control. You can change it to buy it now. You can track your entire collection. And the best part about all this is too, they charge almost the exact same amount as if you started your own eBay store. But this eBay store already has 100% positive feedback with over 10,000 cards sold. So definitely check them out. The links are in the description. All right, first question is from @IsaacWanna3847. Emergency question. I got a PSA 10 Charizard from 151 for 300 and recent sales are around 450. Do you think this would be a good time to sell, or is there more room for growth? Thanks. But yeah, that card is going absolutely crazy. We'll take a little peek. These are the three cheapest available on eBay in a PSA 10. $650 for the Zard, $665 and $675. So normally I would always say yes, sell when cards get super hyped up because cards constantly go up and down. But recently it's been kind of weird. Like the Greninja was completely hyped up, like completely manipulated. And then people kind of bought into it, and now a ton of people love it. But that card was $70 on pre-release and then leveled out around $100. And then all of a sudden it's a $300 card. But normally, if you look at all of Pokemon history, cards are always the most expensive on pre-release because people are the most excited for that card. People were not super excited for the Greninja, but it grew on them. And the reason it grew on them is because it got expensive, and people love expensive and rare things. And the pull rates are pretty tough for that set too. So I could honestly see Charizard getting hyped up and not really coming down a ton. You know, I do feel like he will come down, especially when we get these new crazy sets. But I have a feeling he might not ever get down to that, you know, $100, $110, $120 mark. So it is so tough to say. And then, you know, when you're selling it, I mean, that's a good amount of money. You know, if you could sell this card for $750 and you have maybe $150 put into it, that's a good chunk of change, which you could then invest into 6 Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, which could be, you know, $250 a booster box in 3 years. So you always just have to remember and take that into consideration. But if I had a PSA 10 Charizard, you guys just know I like to keep everything anyways, but I would probably keep it just in case. You know, you never know what happens. It could be the next Umbreon, even though I would say half the people don't really love this art. But if you're absolutely broke and you need money and stuff like that, now would be a decent time. I mean, you're making a good amount of profit, and you do have a very good chance to buy this card back one day at maybe $350, $400, but you never know. Like I said, it's got the right ingredients to go absolutely crazy. Super tough question. And then the other question that I kind of used for the thumbnail was from @ThomasGomers2466. Hi, Pokebeard. Do you think the Pokemon Center ETBs are a long-term hold, or should I sell my Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center ETBs now since there is so much hype around the Kanto starters from Stellar Crown, Obsidian Flames? Well, let's take a little peek. That box is still going up in price. I mean, we got some crazy sales now. Last sold 143, 140, 135, 130, 127, 127. Now, I am keeping all my Pokemon Center ETBs long term. But again, you know, it's the same thing with the Charizard. It really depends on your situation. But if you think about it, let's say if you get 120 for it, you know, after shipping and taxes, you're going to get maybe $100. So you paid 60 for it. So you're only profiting $40. Are you really, you know, in need of that $40? Or would you rather, you know, hold it and, you know, maybe make $140 or $240? You never know. And then two, you might have a better chance opening the Pokemon Center ETB and grading that Charmander and making $500. So there is a ton of options for this box. It's just going absolutely crazy. But it all depends on how much profit you want to make. You know, I get that question a ton, like, should I sell this now? It's like, are you okay with only making $30 or $40 or even $50? Like, that's not a ton of money. And then you have to go through the work of selling it, you know, listing it, packaging it, and all that. Next is from @StephenFoster X8G. Thanks for answering my question. I have another question for you. In my opinion, the Pokemon World Championships Pikachu EX Special Illustration Rare promo is underrated. I currently own this in a PSA 10. What do you think about this card long term, especially considering how well all the other Japanese Pikachu promos have done? Thanks as always for the great content. This is a super, super awesome card that I just feel like a ton of people don't really know a ton about it. So last sold is 148, 181, 137. I absolutely love this card, and I want to get this card in a BGS 10 myself. I think this is one of the best Japanese promos we've got in a very, very long time. And I love that it's a special illustration rare with Miraidon and Koraidon. But yeah, I just feel like a ton of people don't know about this card. So I really think it is undervalued, to be honest, for what it really is. It's so beautiful. But yeah, super good question. I honestly forgot about that card. I remember when it first came out, I really, really wanted it. I have it on my list, but yeah, I completely forgot about it. Next is from @YoungBryant12. Hey man, love all your YouTube videos. I have an authentic Pikachu Van Gogh canvas from the Van Gogh Museum. I'm having a hard time finding its value because the Pokemon Center also did a collab with the museum, but those don't have a COA. How can I find its value, and how do you think the canvas will do long term? Thanks. So we'll check that out. Yeah, if you just type in Van Gogh canvas with COA after on eBay recently sold, you'll find it. Just depends on which one you have. So definitely do that. You can find that in the advanced options on eBay. But the big Pikachu, the 70 by 55 sold for $8.99 and $7.60. The smaller one sold for $2.50, $2.60. Big one for $600, $509. Next is from @JustinPark23. Do you know of a solid way to look into how much a set was printed, trying to see just how much each set was printed while I was out of the hobby? Also, do you think the Crystal Guardian set has hit its peak, or do you think it has room to get closer to Skyridge? So yeah, there's not really just a website or something that just has all the print runs, because they don't really tell people that. A good way that I like to do it is you can check out PSA Pop Reports too. And if you just look at all the cards, you know, even like more of the commons and all that, that can kind of tell you a little bit, but it also depends on print quality and stuff like that. But it's commonly known, like the Skyridge era, that a few sets after that are the least printed sets. So I don't think Crystal Guardians will ever get to Skyridge. Skyridge is honestly insane. But I think Crystal Guardians does have a little room to grow. There's one booster box on eBay for $24,000. 312 people are watching. Super, super good set. But yeah, it's just so tough to say with these vintage sets. We got another one on here for 38 grand from Italy. But right next is from @OneLuckyViewer. If you had a Cosmic Eclipse booster box with a small tear on the top wrap, would you keep it sealed, sell it, or open it? Appreciate you. I definitely would not open it. Cosmic Eclipse has very, very tough pull rates. The recently sold on eBay for Cosmic Eclipse is $1,148 plus $60 in shipping from the UK. Otherwise, $942 our best offer from Canada. We got a $990. We got a sealed case for $6 grand. Wow. Which is, you know, $1,000 a booster box. If you're looking to invest into something else, you know, it might be a decent time, you know, especially if you got Cosmic Eclipse for super, super cheap. And then now it's $1,000 a box. You're making a good amount of money. Like I said, say you bought Cosmic Eclipse for $200. You could buy 8 Scarlet and Violet booster boxes that are $95 a booster box and could potentially make a lot more money down the road. But with it being a tear, I mean, you're for sure going to have to take a hit on that. Probably going to be like a $100 hit. So, you know, it's totally up to you. It just depends on, you know, if you actually need the money. If it were me, I'd probably just keep it because it's Cosmic Eclipse and I keep everything. So, but all right, next question is from @AlexanderBaker5843. I was wondering if you would do this trade. PSA 10 Poncho Pikachu Gyarados for PSA 10 Unlimited Neo Desi Shining Charizard. Should I do it, or is it a mistake trading a Poncho for it? Thanks, love the channel, keep up the grind. I would trade that in a heartbeat. I mean, just even value-wise, recently sold for the Pikachu Gyarados in a 10 is $1,900, $24, $28 our best offer. But the last sold for the Charizard, $4,400 or best offer, $4,300 or best offer, $34 or best offer, $4 grand. So, I mean, you're getting way more value just right off the bat. So I would definitely make that trade. Plus, in my opinion, the Shining Charizard is a lot more of a grail than the Poncho Pikachus. There's a ton of people that just don't even collect Japanese cards. So I like English slightly better for that reason. Plus, I like cards that are actually old and you have to pull. But all right, next is from @TBPokemon. Hi, Pokebeard. I hope you're having a great day. I am. Thank you. Do you have any thoughts on the best way to donate Pokemon cards to schools or kids' hospitals? I have a lot of mixed bulk reverse holos, commons, uncommons, bulk, V cards, etc. that I would love to donate to kids if possible. Thank you for the awesome videos. Keep it up. So there's always places, you know, like you can literally type it on Google on where to donate cards. These people take donate bulk cards and they go to a bunch of schools and, you know, hand them out. But you can literally just call your local school and ask. I've donated cards one time before to my local school. But yeah, you just got to call and ask. Some schools don't take them if they're not sealed. Otherwise, too, if you go to Card Party, there's a bulk alley where all the kids go, you know, and sit and look for all the commons and uncommons and, you know, try to finish sets and stuff like that. So you can always bring your bulk to there, too. So you got plenty of options for sure. But yeah, otherwise, if you want to do something local, just does not hurt to call and ask. Next is from @Tyreek Williams 500. With GameStop selling graded cards at decent prices, I was wondering if you have or will buy any from their site. I haven't bought anything from their site yet. I've heard the prices are pretty crazy. Some people have sent me some screenshots of some insane prices. But if you can find the card cheaper on GameStop than you can on eBay, then I would totally buy it off GameStop. I just haven't really looked too much. But yeah, it is weird to see graded cards on GameStop. And it's just so funny, too, how many crappy ones there are, just like Pokemon Go holos and stuff like that. So, yeah, kind of crazy. All right, next is from @Pashara5221. Hey, Pokebeard, love your videos, man. I recently picked up a few PSA 10s of the Holo Call of Legends Cross Hatch Play energies for a little under 775 USD. Darkness, Psychic, Fire, Grass, and Water. What are your thoughts on the purchase? I thought they looked really cool. Also, should I complete the set? But yeah, I'd probably complete the set. That would drive me nuts, especially you got so many of them already. But I'm actually collecting these, but I'm not collecting the crosshatch play ones. I'm collecting just the regular reverse holos from Call of Legends. I'm also collecting the non-holos from Heart Gold Soul Silver, but I only need a few more. They're actually pretty tough to find in really, really good condition, raw. But I love these cards. If you guys don't know, this is where they actually put the Pokemon in the background for the energies. So yeah, there are 3 different types of these cards. You have to keep that in mind when collecting these. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I love them. Next is from @CoolCardKid. Is it a good decision to sell or trade the Glaceon VMAX Alt Art from Evolving Skies? Well, I'm going to guess if you're willing to trade it, I'm guessing you don't love it that much. And you might as well collect what you like. So if you want to trade it for something, you know, of equal value that you like more, that's definitely okay. But in my opinion, well, set to lightly played, any evolution from Evolving Skies is a hold for me. But the card is falling pretty hard. I mean, it was $316 in July, and now it's $228. You never know. It could drop down to $150. So it's totally up to you and your situation. If you need the money, now might be a decent time. I do feel like there's a good chance it will go back up to maybe $300. You just never know when. We got a lot of crazy sets coming out, so you have to keep that in mind. All right, next question is from @DavidAnthony3032. Hey, Pokebeard, love the content. Thank you. I recently picked up a Charizard from Evolutions for $36. Do you think the value of a raw card will ever be worth over $100? We got to think. Evolutions is already almost $1,000 a booster box. And if that card isn't at $100 yet, I don't know if it ever will be. I can see it, you know, for sure being over 50, maybe even 75. But you got to think, we've gotten 2 reprints of Charizard since then. We got the Celebrations reprint, and then we got the classic, the giant box, that we got to reprint too. So you got to keep that in mind. And to be honest, I like, especially the classic box Charizard more than these two. But yeah, I could definitely see it going up a little bit, you know, 50, 75. But I don't know if it will quite reach that $100 mark. I also have that card and have wanted that too, because it was pretty expensive back in the day. If it's super, super nice, definitely get it graded. That card is so hard to grade and worth a ton in a PSA 10. But all right, next question is from @PercyMena1583. Do you think it's best to buy a Twilight Masquerade booster box right now while the prices aren't too high? Reason I ask is because it seems like a bull market at the moment. The Paldea Evolved booster box was reprinted. People swiped them up, all lowering the prices for a bit, then went right back up. Also love the videos. Keep on churning dope videos. So in my opinion, I mean, the Twilight Masquerade booster box is like $150. So that's expensive to me. You know, we were able to get this box at $95 for a while. And the set is so new that I would not recommend buying this at $150, to be honest. We will get a massive reprint. The Paldea Evolved reprint wasn't even really a reprint. It was more like a restocking. And you got to think how old Paldea Evolved is. Twilight Masquerade is so new. So I would just hold off. You do not want to overpay 50 something, maybe even $60 right now on a brand new booster box, just because it's getting hyped up. you have a very, very, very good chance of getting this box at 125, 110. Plus, stuff goes up and down. If our next 4 sets are bang Twilight Masquerade, which means the sellers that are sitting on a bunch of Twilight Masquerade that got them at 95, they'll try to sell them at 160. They won't sell because not as many people are buying. Then 150, then 140, then 130. So just hold off. You should be okay. But all right, next is from @SparkSmith. Hey, Beard, absolutely love the videos. Thank you. Keep up the great work. Question, do the Pokemon Center ever restock Pokemon Center ETBs? I missed the opportunity to get the Pokemon Center 151 ETB, and I would really love to grab one, but prices are pretty high right now. So there is a chance. I mean, we just got Paradox Rift last month. It was in stock for about a week. We've had quite a few small reprints of the Pokemon Center ETBs, but they are small and they are quick. So definitely follow me on Instagram or my YouTube membership, and I will post that ASAP because I'm also looking and I will be buying a ton. But yeah, I'm right there with you for sure. Next is from @Ruben Kokwai19. Or should I spend my money on something else like a booster box? I do think a booster box will get you more value than those boxes, for sure. Booster boxes are king. I mean, a case of that is not bad, but I wouldn't really buy in a case of that if you don't have any booster boxes yet. So definitely get yourself some booster boxes, some Pokemon Center ETB cases. Then you can start thinking about maybe, diversifying and getting a few cases of some random collection boxes that you like. But definitely booster boxes first. Next is from @Dovadive. How do you suggest dealing with FOMO? I'm just starting investing and collecting, and everyone thinks Surging Sparks is the next big chase set. I personally want to wait till Team Rocket and Trainer Pokemon as I see more of a play there, yet I'm worried Surging Sparks goes to the moon and I'm left out. Yeah, that's probably one of the toughest questions in Pokemon. I mean, in everything too. Just know, when stuff gets hyped up, it just makes you want it more. And then when stuff, isn't popular, you just don't want it anymore, but which is usually the best time to buy stuff. So you got to keep that in mind. And then too, you got to think about it for these newer sets. The only thing that can really go out of stock and maybe not come back in is the Pokemon Center ETBs. So I'm guessing you are on some sort of budget. So, if you are worried about something like that, you're not overpaying. You don't have to pay $80, $90 for a pre-order on a Pokemon Center ETB. They're still $59.99. Maybe get yourself 1, maybe 2 Pokemon Center ETBs if you are worried. And then that way, we have time on booster boxes. We'll get multiple waves of that stuff. It's just basically the Pokemon Center ETB is the only thing that can really go out of stock and maybe not come back. So get yourself a couple of those maybe, or even just 1, just so you got something. And then go crazy on the other sets that you think will do better. But yeah, I totally understand. That's why I like to just buy every set. A lot of people cannot afford that. I mean, I can't even really afford it either. What I really want to do is buy 3 booster box cases and 3 Pokemon Center ETB cases of every single set. But that's just so expensive, especially because I constantly buy cards. But yeah, you just got to really think about what you want. If you're looking at Surging Sparks and it really, really doesn't excite you, and the thought of some, Team Rocket cards or, partner cards does, then, definitely hold off. But like I said, maybe get yourself 1 Pokemon Center ETB, and then, in a couple months, there will still be plenty of Surging Sparks booster boxes. I've already seen the numbers. People are getting a ton of this stuff, so there will be plenty to go around. So yeah, if there is a good chance of something getting hyped up to the moon to where it may never come back down and you can still get it for that, good price, then I always, you might as well pick it up if you can afford it. But if you cannot afford it, it's totally understandable. Just know there will be many, many other plays. But I also do think Team Rocket will be the best set out of the 3. I think the partner set will do good, but you got to think the partner set's basically trainer galleries that I feel like nobody ever talks about. It's basically going to be the same type of thing. And then the evolution set could be crazy because I heard we're getting a ton of legendaries with that also. But they're going to have the crowns and stuff. But I feel like the crowns will look decent on the, evolutions because, they're so beautiful and stuff like that, to where I feel like the crowns look better on like prettier Pokemon. So, there's a lot of plays coming soon. All right, next is from @Tristan Jones 444. Love the content. Thank you. Do you think it's worth it to send a card to PSA, and if it gets a 10, crack it and send it to Beckett to try and get Black Label? That card has to be absolutely perfect. Like, I'm talking not a single speck. It cannot be off-centered even remotely at all. Like, be extremely picky. Like, if you see something very, very small, it's not going to get a Black Label. So if you think your card is absolutely perfect and you see no damage at all, nothing at all, then you might want to take a chance. You never know. It's possible. Next is from @Bradley Hallaby 3992. Hi Beard, love the content and taking the time to respond to every single comment. It's much appreciated. Could you give me your opinion on if it's better to select a sealed case of a solid set, Paldea Evolved, or getting 6 separate boxes, selecting one of each starting from Scarlet Violet base and up? Which would be the better long-term return? So if you're talking pure investment-wise, the case is going to do better, especially if it's of a better set. But if you're more of a collector, I think it's kind of cool getting all the different booster boxes for each set. But yeah, value-wise, the case is definitely going to win for sure. Next is from @Adam Mason. Why no to master setting modern sets? Just because it's expensive unless you do it via singles, right? Was thinking of doing a binder for each in your mint. So here's what I've noticed throughout my almost 30 years in Pokemon. Almost everybody tries to do master sets and then they don't complete it. So what they do, they spend a bunch of money on their commons, reverse holos, their basic EXs, their full arts, you know, their trainers and all that. You got to think the new sets have so many cards and so many different types of cards. You know, they knock out all those cheap cards and then, you know, they got a half set. Then we got 3 new sets by the time that set comes out. And then you're trying to get the illustration rares and special illustration rares. Now we got 4 new sets. It's just not worth it. You will never be able to actually keep up unless you have a ton of money to where you can just basically spend a whole day buying all the cards you need to master a set. Like that's the only way. But what I think about it is, I think you're wasting money. So that's why I always, you know, say collect exactly what you like. So for myself, for the Scarlet and Violet Eras, my master setting is just getting every single illustration rare and special illustration rare. I don't even get the special illustration rare trainers because I don't really like trainers that much. I like the Pokemon. So to me, you know, that's my master set. I don't care about all that other stuff because just think about it. If you spend all that money on all those random cards that you don't even really love, that could be a complete master set of illustration rares and special illustration rares for Obsidian Flames. Done. You know, super easy set to complete. Even Stellar Crown, you know, pretty easy. Shrouded Fable, pretty easy. Like a lot of these sets are pretty easy to get every single illustration rare and special illustration rare. But when you put in the time it takes and the money it takes to get all the commons, reverse holos, like I said, the EXs, the full arts, the Terras, it's just annoying. And I promise you, you will fall behind and you'll end up selling your collection a few years down the road and you're going to have 7 binders with no completed sets, or maybe 1 or 2 completed sets and a bunch of uncompleted sets. And the reason I know that is because all I do is buy lots and other people's sets, and the amount of uncompleted sets I've bought is crazy. Probably over 1,000. It just takes up so much time, and then you're just spending a ton of money on cards you maybe don't even like. That's why I only really master set vintage stuff, because at the time, you know, like those commons and uncommons, those are probably some of the first cards of that Pokemon. So it's a little different. Plus the sets aren't hundreds and hundreds of cards with 15 different rarities. So you have to keep that in mind. Next is from a member @ChasingSelby. Have you ever been a vendor at a card show? And if so, what would be the most inventory you'd sell? Raw, graded, or sealed? I am doing my first one this weekend. Wish me luck. Keep it up with your baby sleep schedule. It will come together. Thank you. So I've vended a couple card shows before. I'm actually going to start getting into vending. My next show is already sold out, like the tables. But the next show after that, I think I'm going to get a table. And I think I'm actually going to make a vending video too. You know, like all the YouTube videos right now, a lot of people vending. So I might do that. Let me know down below if you guys would like to see me actually at the card show vending. But I always like to have a good variety of everything. Sealed, graded, raw, and especially the cheaper raw cards. One thing I always love to do, I love to have a couple ETBs of free cards, like reverse holos, stuff like that, you know, for kids to look through that they might need to complete sets. And then I also like to have a binder with dollar cards. And then I'll do 6 cards for $5. Kids love it. That way they can actually flip through. And then I always try to throw some decent cards in there, a couple $3, $4, $5 cards, maybe depending on what it is, or if I have a ton of doubles. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. It just makes the kids so happy, and then the parents get happy, and they'll maybe buy some cards from you too. But yeah, probably the most cards that I actually sell is raw cards. I mean, I sell a good amount of graded cards and sealed, but the raw just sells so quick. It's just so affordable. So I always try to have a lot of raw from all different generations. And then you got to have your case of your PSA 10s and other stuff like that, your graded cards. But good luck. Let me know how it goes. And hopefully one day you can vend a show that I'm at or something and we can meet up. Definitely would love to meet you. Next is from @Kasha0211. Is it worth trying to sell singles on eBay? I've never really sold anything on there, but I have a lot of singles I'd like to sell, but there aren't a lot of shops in my area, and the one I know of only offers 60% to 70% trade-in value. Definitely start selling on eBay. It's a great experience. You know, you learn some new things. It's honestly a good time once you get into it. Next is from at Redneck Adventures 9122. My local Costco has 151 UPC for 120 Canadian, 88 USD. Stock is getting low. I bought 15 thinking of buying more as a sealed investment. Good idea or bad? I'd buy as many as you could possibly afford. No joke. I mean, you're basically buying something that is just doubled in money right away. There's nothing at all in the world that you can just do that. I would definitely suggest buying as many as you can. Man, Canada. I'm in Minnesota. Maybe I might have to make a drive up to Canada, order some stuff from Costco. Next is from at ZZISCO3307. Videos are awesome. Thank you. So what are your thoughts on Sean O'Malley losing? I'm an O'Malley fan, but hate how arrogant he's gotten. I was not a fan of that fight. I think he could easily beat Merab too. He just wasn't throwing punches. He was just scared of getting taken down. But he had so much time and so many opportunities to catch him. And I actually kind of like with what he's doing after. The amount of views he's getting now compared to before is way more. Him coming out saying, you know, he got beat and all that, but then when he actually watched the fight saying he won the fight, which if you do watch the fight with no commentary, he definitely does do more damage. Merab does nothing. Merab basically gave him a dead leg for 3 rounds. But yeah, I think O'Malley's just pretty decent at actually playing with the fans and all that and just like making people hate him, which honestly brings more engagement and stuff like that. I think he's getting pretty good at that, to where I think he's just kind of messing with a ton of people. But it's only going to work out if he wins his next fight. If he loses his next fight, it's going to be terrible for him because all this talk and stuff like that is just not going to look good. So it all really depends on if he wins his next fight or not. Next is from at Dex Westra 2006. Dex here from Cape Town, South Africa. Really enjoy your content. I'm quite new to collecting, 6 months or so in. I hear and have noticed that playable cards seem to be overvalued to collectors, and people say some cards like Chen Pao EX SR is going to drop in value when it is out of rotation. My question, what is the best way to identify such cards and patterns, and do some of these cards really drop that much in value, even if they are super rares like the SIRs? In other words, would you buy them now or wait? It's definitely for the special illustration rares for sure, especially like Chen Pao, pretty loved card. You know, I haven't really heard anybody say they don't like that card. So I can't see that card really dropping a ton once it gets out of rotation for like being playable. But there's cards like, you know, the Ogre Pawns and, you know, some other cards that aren't as popular, especially the non-special illustration rares. Those cards will for sure drop, like for sure. But yeah, usually they'll drop a little bit for the super expensive cards, but Chen Pao, you got to think it's the first card of Chen Pao really, and it's a special illustration rare. That card will go up in price. So if it's a popular Pokemon, the art is good, and the price is pretty good, then I feel like it's totally okay to buy. Next question is from at Dominic Mangoon 5731. Do you think Moon Boy will be worth more than the booster box down the line? No, I think the booster box will be worth way more. That's why whenever anybody asks me, should I trade my Moonbreon for an Evolving Skies booster box? I like that trade. You know, I think that's a decent trade, to be honest. Especially if the box is super, super crispy and clean. Man, I feel like Evolving Skies booster box will be a $2,000, $3,000 booster box one day. Maybe even more, 10, 15 years down the road. You never really know. But all right, that was today's What If Wednesday. If you guys do have any questions, please drop them down below, like I mentioned before. And then too, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. You guys know what to do. And then if you guys want to know when new stuff like 151 booster bundles come in stock for 25 bucks, definitely follow me on Instagram or join. Don't ever drop videos on Tuesday, but the Charizard was going so crazy from 151, I just had to. So click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.